Good morning, students. Today we will start with social science. This year you will be having three textbooks for social. First is Our Pasts for history, Social and Political Life for civics, and The Earth Our Habitat for geography. Let's start with Our Pasts. Now, history is all about finding out what happened, where did it happen, how did it happen, and when did it happen. Now, how do we find out what happened? If we want to find out something that happened yesterday, we could listen to the radio, watch television, or read a newspaper. To find out what happened last year, we can ask somebody who remembers. But what about something that happened long, long ago? Let us see how it can be done. Now, what can we know about the past? There are several things we can find out. What people ate, the kinds of clothes they wore, the houses in which they lived. We can find out about the lives of hunters, herders, farmers, rulers, merchants, priests, craftspersons, artists, musicians, and scientists. We can also find out about the games children played, the stories they heard, the plays they saw, the songs they sang. Where did people live? Here we are given a map of India, and now we will study that in the past, which were the first regions which started agriculture, where did cities develop, which area had most of the cities around it, which region had the biggest kingdom, and so on. Let's start studying. Now find the river Narmada on map. We know it's in central India. People have lived along the banks of this river for several 100,000 years. Some of the earliest people who lived here were skilled gatherers, that is, people who gathered their food. They knew about the vast wealth of plants in the surrounding forests and collected roots, fruits, and other forest produce for their food. They also hunted animals. Now find the Suleiman and Kirthar hills to the northwest. You can see they are the first names to your left hand corner. Some of the areas where women and men first began to grow crops such as wheat and barley about 8,000 years ago are located here. People also began rearing animals like sheep, goat and cattle and lived in villages. Now locate the Garo Hills to the northeast. It's below the Brahmaputra river and the Vindhyas in central India. It is above the Narmada river. These were some of the other areas where agriculture developed. The places where rice was first grown are to the north of the Vindhyas. Now trace the river Indus and its tributaries. Tributaries are smaller rivers that flow into a larger river. Which are the tributaries? They are Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj. So, about 4,700 years ago, some of the earliest cities flourished on the banks of these rivers. Later, about 2,500 years ago, cities developed on the banks of the Ganga and its tributaries and along the sea coasts. Locate the Ganga and its tributary called the Son. In ancient times, the area along these rivers to the south of the Ganga was known as Magad, now lying in the state of Bihar. Its rulers were very powerful and set up a large kingdom. Kingdoms were set up in other parts of the country as well. That's all for today. You have to read the lesson again and try to remember the regions in the map. You're not given any written homework today, but please memorize what you read today. We will continue with the chapter tomorrow.